it's shown that she's competent, that she is, she's got a lot of good artistic and design skills, and that she and Ludacris are fucking. So, I think she is supposed to be like she's like the first girl boss of the franchise, I think. If we're, I don't know, Letty is a real girl boss.
Letty is a really
Actually, I don't think so, right? Letty is not a girl boss. She's like a bad bitch. I think there's a difference.
Okay, let's get into it. What is semantically the difference between a girl boss and a bad bitch, Aaron, according to you?
Welcome to Mortified, the Friendship Quest, a podcast where two long-distance friends bounce media recommendations, all in hopes the other will like it. I'm Aaron.
And I'm a Hoasis.
And this week, we shift into second gear with Too Fast, Too Furious. Before we lament the lack of Michelle Rodriguez in this film, remember you can help us on Mortified the Legitimacy Quest by subscribing to us on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, signing up for our monthly newsletter through the link in our show notes, or following us on Twitter and Tumblr at MortifiedPod. Leyla.
Aaron.
You know what time it is?
Is it time to shift into second gear?
It's time for ignition and straight automobile pimping.
Stop.
A line in this movie. Man, 2003, that was a good year.
Was that the tagline?
No. I don't know what the tagline was. I thought it was just, I don't know, something stupid. I'll look it up. But, the actual tagline of this film is, how fast do you like it? So, Leyla, how fast do you like it?
I like it furious, is the thing.
Excellent. Good. You're exactly the right headspace to talk about this film. So, listeners, you might be wondering, we already talked about the Fast 1 and Fast 7. Why bother talking about any of the films in between? And the answer is that, well, because Leyla and I can no longer talk about video games, we have to, do different weird serialized monthly episodes, and we've decided to do the entire Fast franchise because apparently Fast 9 is very good, and we're gonna have to work our way up to that.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Fast 2 through 6. We're gonna skip 7, do 8 and the spin-off, and then 9.
Yes, and unfortunately that does mean we have to watch this one, which I am hoping is not maybe representative of the later films. I'm hoping this is kind of, a franchise still finding its feet. Because I was pretty disappointed by this one. This film got pretty negative to mixed reviews. I don't think that maybe it was that bad, right? If you know going in what Fast movies are, you should be like pretty fine with it.
No, I thought it was pretty bad. Here's also the thing. I have seen this film before, and I completely did not remember it. It was like I was watching it for the first time. And the other thing is that I didn't watch it per se. I put it on while driving and listened to it like a podcast.
You got the audio only Too Fast, Too Furious.
Which, let me tell you, during the car chases, when there's police sirens, that gets a little bit unnerving.
Yeah, I expect. But doing it while driving is actually the ideal experience to watch any Fast movie. You really get the fucking 4D surround sound feeling.
Well, that, and it's extra funny when you're me driving an extremely practical hatchback.
Listen, okay, fucking Paul Walker is driving like a Subaru in this one, so like it's not that far off. His sports car, his like core sports car is not that fancy, I don't think.
That's true, and he does drive in 9, nope, one of the later ones, he drives a minivan. So, was it 7? No.
I feel like it is 7. It's 7. The last one he's in, he drives a minivan.
Yeah, so you know what?
It's really good. It's a Nissan Skyline, which is not a sports car, I don't think. But they treat it like one.
Maybe it was a sports car in 20, whatever this came out.
2003.
Lord, really?
Yep, first one was 01. Time flies.
Wow.
But yeah, so Leyla, do you want to try to summarize what happened in this film? Is it your turn or is it my turn?
I think it's my turn, and here's the thing. Paul Walker as Brian has to go undercover again, sort of, to take down a mob boss, I think. And mob boss has a hot girlfriend, and because Michelle Rodriguez is not in this movie... Oh, sorry, not Michelle Rodriguez. Because the entire conglomerate surrounding Vin Diesel is not in this movie.
There's no family.
There's no family. There's a hot lady for Brian to ogle the entire time. They have some chemistry, but you're really missing Vin Diesel in this. So he is being helped out by Roman, Tyrese, and Tej, Ludacris, who formerly was Ja Rule in this role. And we'll talk about what Aaron found as to why Ja Rule did not return. And yeah, hijinks ensue. I wouldn't say there's much more story than that. It's quite forgettable. And again, I did listen to it like a podcast. Aaron, are there any like standout details that you want to fill in?
The main thing is that like the main tension of this story is Eva Mendes is this mob boss's, like, you know, she is an undercover cop, and Paul Walker and Tyrese are also being, you know, pressed into service by the police so they can take down this mob boss. And basically, like, their whole deal is to work with Eva Mendes to, like, you get him, but like in order to, you know, figure out what he's doing, he basically makes them like dick around with his goons for a while until they pick up like a bunch of cash, and then they drive it to an airport, and then he makes it look like you know, they went to a different airport or a different place, and instead they go to a boat, and then Eva Mendes is like, oh no, what's gonna happen, and then Paul Walker drives a car into a boat, but then she doesn't even need rescuing, so it's fine. There's a lot of really like all the stuff with the mob boss is really nothing. The main character stuff is the characterization between Brian and Roman, right? Their past relationship, you know, specifically, you know, Brian becoming a cop, and then soon after Roman being, you know, incarcerated, and he never forgave Brian for that, both becoming a cop and, you know, allowing him to be in prison. You know, that's all that kind of happens in this. Like the rest of the stuff is like really boring. There's not, you know, there's like a heist, but it's like not even a heist. It's like getting a cigar out of a cars. It's really boring. Yeah, like I think some of the action set pieces are good, but like the story is really nothing in a really disappointing way.
Do you want to know why I couldn't even begin to tell you that Eva Mendes was a cop? The sound mixing in this motion picture is fucking atrocious. And I don't know if that's just because of the way it was uploaded to youtube.com. I don't know if that's just the way that the highway on the Interstate 90 in New York is. But I had to constantly be turning the sound up and down because the dialogue came in at a whisper and the cars came in at a roar.
I mean, that's actually like a pretty apt metaphor for this entire movie. It's like, you're not really here for the talking. You're here for the hot, you know, 2000s fashion, and the cool cars and the revving engine sounds. You know, all the talking is really immaterial. You know, we'll get into it, but you don't really need to hear anybody's, you know, actual thoughts or opinions in this movie.
Here's the thing about enjoying this film as one would enjoy a podcast. There is surprisingly little dialogue.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
You come to find out. The car's engine noises are dialogues unto themselves, as far as the Fast franchise is concerned.
You know, and that's kind of really in the spirit of the Fast franchise. You learn to speak without words, right? You learn the language of the engine. And I think you've really tapped into that. You know, you're already very... you speak like 3 or 4 languages, right? So, I mean, what's a fifth, you know? The language of gears and motors.
I speak too competently and too very poorly, but, you know, it's... Let's put it this way. It was very interesting to notice the absence of Vin Diesel.
Yeah, no. Let's get into the characters so we can talk about the absence of Vin Diesel, because his, you know, like I said before we started the podcast, you know, his absence is like, you know, like a gravity. And it's very palpably felt. Also, listeners, Layla's sweet boy Toulouse is holding onto her shirt for dear life as we record this episode. So if you hear any kitty noises,
I have been gone since Thursday. It is currently Sunday. And this lad will simply, he needs contact right now. And there's nothing I can do about it.
We have a guest on the podcast today. He will remain silent, we hope. How did you feel about fucking Paul Walker's character? How did you feel about Brian?
Brian's fine. Brian's always fine. You know what I mean?
Exactly, right.
Brian does what Brian needs to do.
He doesn't have an arc in this story, really. So he's introduced by, Ludacris calls him up. He's like, hey, we need a fourth person to do this race. And, Brian's like, oh, I'll be there in 4 minutes. And he drives and he goes to the race and he wins it. And I was like, wait, so they're not going to, have him lose the race, gallantly? What are we setting up for this character's motivation here? There is a throwaway line about how he needs money. And he wins $10,000, which is, that's a lot of money, good for him. But his character doesn't change. He talks about how he wants to have a better relationship with Tyrese, with Roman. And he gets that, but Paul doesn't make any significant choices. He just sort of drives super good and everyone's like, wow, he's super good at driving. And that's it. And it's completely fine.
Yep. And you know what? Even the super good driving really didn't impress me without Vin Diesel there. There was one car race where I was like, oh, did he just show up and Vin Diesel is there? And they still have that weird tense relationship from what happened in the last movie? No, it's just some dude.
It's literally just a guy, yeah. He shows up at the very end, but he's not important. Yeah, I don't know. He has some good lines, but all of the great moments that Brian has here are because of his playing off of Tyrese, who I think does a great job at being the hapless sidekick. What was your audio impression of Roman?
Tyrese did a great job. I'll put it this way. It took me a while to figure out what the fuck was going on. They had a good bro chemistry. And you know what? I'm just really glad that, Tyrese and Ludacris took breaks from their music careers to lend their talents to this motion picture film. Because if Roman wasn't in this movie, I think I would have turned it off and messaged you and said, hey, maybe we group this one with Tokyo Drift.
Yes. Without Roman's character and his relief, his jokes and his being a funny kind of doofus, this would be a unwatchable movie. But I wanna set the character. I've dropped a link in the chat, but I will read. There's a screenshot when they're doing background checks. The mob boss is doing background checks on these guys. They pull up a personality profile from the Miami Police Department on Roman Pierce. And it reads like this. This is an extremely egocentric individual who cannot take the criticism of others or tolerate shortcomings of any kind. He would further be described as someone who requires instant gratification for his impulses and who can react violently when those impulses are not satisfied. He is glib and superficial, but also extremely manipulative in bold letters. He must be dominant in all relationships with women. He can also become very possessive and irrationally jealous of those he feels are not spending enough time attending to his needs in his sexual relationships. And that is the way that the movie yeah, you didn't see this.
What? I want to know, in this universe, what corrections officer dated Roman Pierce in the past and then wrote that?
Dragged his ass, oh my god. Yeah, no, the movie just makes Roman the butt of every joke. Probably my favorite bit in the movie is when they are going to, break into this car to steal an important package. This Corvette, or I don't remember what it is. But he, they both, Paul Walker and Tyrese both roll up at the same time on this car, and they see it there. The car's, sitting there in this impound lot. Toulouse has successfully knocked my host's headphones completely off. Leyla is breaking down, sobbing. I'm going to Oh, I'm gonna wait. This is all getting edited out.
Please continue.
So they both drive up to this car that's parked in the impound lot, and Roman takes his shirt off and wraps it around his hand because he's like, "Oh, we gotta get into the car." He breaks the window of the car, and then Brian looks at him and just opens the car. It was unlocked, and I was just like, "That's a good gag," and it's like extremely good characterization of what their relationship is like. But you know, I think he is. I think Roman's character is deployed best in those kind of funny, silly, over-the-top moments.
So that scene I actually did see because I was at a red light. And I did enjoy that. I am so constantly confused as to who the audience is for these movies, because the way that was shot with Roman taking his shirt off, they lit his pecs and his abs to show every fucking line.
I needed to get sunglasses. There was so much glare coming off of his glistening body.
I could see the glare through the glare on my phone screen in my cup holder in my practical hatchback.
Yeah, no. Like, listen, this movie, you know, we've talked about this earlier. This franchise does a good bit of sexualization of women, right? There's plenty of women wearing, like, you know, very revealing bikinis, and there's a lot of, like, you know, ass shots of Eva Mendes. But, we see Tyrese, and he's fucking jacked.
Tyrese, call me. Like, I don't know what else to, you know what I mean? Like, you look great. Speaking of Eva Mendes and her ass, I did also see the shot of her, not for the first time either, this one I remembered, of her in that white bikini. They tanned Eva Mendes to a crisp for this movie.
Yeah, she was very brown. I mean, she
very,
looked
very
great.
tan.
Looked great. Unfortunately, they don't give her much to do. She's just sort of like the cool cop who's like, also like there's a tension between like whether or not she's flipped over to work with the big bad guy, but like that's really nothing. Like there's no indication that she's ever like really on his side because he's like such a huge douchebag, and she's like pretty into Paul Walker, so it's just like it's you know, it's a boring bit of characterization. I wish they gave her more to do. You know, she seems cool. I hope she got paid well.
I hope she got paid super well because she worked hard for that ass, and it was very thoroughly captured in this motion picture. You know, yeah, I wish she had more to do, but like, what did we expect? So let's talk about why Ludacris was, occasionally called Luda, was in this movie instead of Firefest Scam King Ja Rule.
So I'm going to read straight from the Wikipedia. Ja Rule, another prominent rap artist who appeared in The Fast and the Furious, was originally tapped for the role of Tej Parker. Ja Rule was offered $500,000 for the role, which was more than what he had been paid to appear in The Fast and the Furious, $15,000. According to Singleton, who is the somebody who is I guess who knew about what happened, Ja got too big for himself. He turned it down. He turned down $500,000. He was acting like he was too big to be in the sequel. He wouldn't return calls. The director then hired Ludacris Bridges as a substitute. So Ja Rule was just like, no, you underpaid me severely for this. You will not get me back for $500,000.
Do you remember what Ja Rule even did in the first one?
Presumably the same thing that Tej does here, which is just like, here is my garage. I'm going to let you talk to some people. They're going to upgrade your car. That's it.
Yeah, so it's not like Ja Rule's presence, like, made the movie, right? It just, I vaguely remember that Ja Rule was there.
Yeah, exactly. He was in the credits. You know, he serves as a vehicle to get Paul Walker in touch with Dom Toretto, right? But like, he's not a load-bearing character.
No, but you know what? This replacement does help me when I pitch Fast 9 to people, because I look them dead in the eye and I just go, Ludacris goes to space. And that's how I pitch Fast 9.
It's an extremely effective pitch, I must say.
Mm-hmm. Who the fuck is Suki?
So Devon Aoki is, I would assume she's in Tokyo Drift because she is at least pitched as being like either Japanese or like, you know, of mixed race. I'm not sure, but like they introduce her at the very beginning and then a little bit in the middle. But basically she's just like the girl driver. And she comes second to Paul in the first race, and you know it's shown that she's competent, that she is you know, she's got a lot of good artistic and design skills, and that she and Ludacris are fucking. So you know, I think she is supposed to be like a, you know, if you all like, if you know, she's like the first girl boss of the franchise. I think if we're I don't know. Letty is a real girl boss.
Letty is a really
actually. I don't think so. Right? Letty is not a girl boss. She's like a bad bitch. I think there's a difference.
Okay, let's get into it. What is semantically the difference between a girl boss and a bad bitch, Aaron? According to you,
in the taxonomy of powerful women, right? Mm-hmm. We have our mean hotties.
Hottie, got it.
We have our girl bosses, and we have our bad bitches, right? You know, we've documented our love of mean hotties, you know, thoroughly throughout this podcast. We don't need to go over that. But a girl boss is somebody whose motivations are, you know, primarily financial, right? You are trying to make money. You're trying to, you know, establish yourself on an equal level to, you know, a male in a hierarchical structure, right? A man, right? I don't think that's what Letty Ortiz's character is, because I think her whole thing is not about money, or establishing herself as part of a hierarchy. I think she is like just fiercely protective of Dom, and in that way, she's like becomes the head of the hierarchy by default, right? It's not her. You know, even though he is like technically the man, you know, that heads the family, right? She's the power behind the throne. You know, people come to her because they respect her, and she's very talented and powerful. But like her goal is not to climb the ladder, right? A girl boss's goal is to be, you know, the CEO, right? Letty has abolished the system of capital in which, you know, we have CEOs or people at the head of a structure, right? She's in it solely because it is her divine right, as she has claimed with blood and sweat. I think Suki is much more of a girl boss in that she's like, you know, girl power, we can do it. You know, this is feminism in 2003.
Okay. Yeah, I'll agree with that assessment. Thank you for that. Thank you for giving me the opening to this podcast without me having to look for it.
Yeah, I have a master's degree now, so I'm pretty good at saying a lot of bullshit that doesn't mean anything. But yeah, and I like Suki. I wish that they didn't make Ludacris so creepy towards her. I hope she's in Tokyo Drift. That's all I can say.
Can't remember. We're gonna find out.
Fun fact about the driver of the actress. Sorry, Devon Aoki did not have a driver's license or any driving experience prior to the film's production, and took driving lessons during filming. Incredible.
Honestly, that's feminism.
That's feminism. Do you have any feelings on the bad guy or the bad guy's two henchmen?
No, they were fine.
They were fine. At one point, Ludacris sets one of their cars on fire. Or not Ludacris, Tyrese does. And they just do a bunch of weird, stupid bits. And they hate each other. The bad guy's henchmen hate Paul Walker and Tyrese, and it's very funny.
Yep, that was not captured in dialogue. That was all physical comedy.
It's all physical comedy. You would not know that this at all. It's really fun. It's wild.
The good cop and the bad cop I did get a sense of, because they actually have lines. And when I tell you that one is blatantly evil and one is, you know, cop, truly, who?
We don't need, these films don't need subtlety.
They don't. And I celebrate that. Do you have any feelings about the cops?
Not really.
Great.
They were fine.
Where the fuck are Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez, Aaron?
There is an answer to this. So, Vin Diesel was offered $25 million to return in the sequel as Dominic Toretto. However, he refused after reading the screenplay as he felt that its potential was inferior compared to that of its predecessor. Rather, he chose to appear in The Chronicles of Riddick. According to Variety magazine in 2015, he was less than taken with what the screenwriters had in mind for the film. They approached it like they did sequels in the 80s and 90s when they would drum up a new story unrelated for the most part and slap the same name on it. However, Diesel reflected on his decision in a July 2014 report from Uproxx saying, "I would have said, don't walk away from it just because the script sucked in Too Fast, Too Furious, because there's an obligation to the audience to fight, no matter what, to make that film as good as possible." And you know what, Vin Diesel? I'm glad that you recognize the earning potential of franchises. Good for you.
Okay. Hear me out.
Okay.
The Chronicles of Riddick, according to Wikipedia, is a 2004 American science fiction action film written and directed by David Twohy. It follows the adventures of Richard B. Riddick as he attempts to elude capture after the events depicted in the 2000 film Pitch Black. Vin Diesel reprises his role as Riddick and acts as producer. It is the first and so far only film in the franchise to be given a PG-13 rating. The film received negative reviews and was a box office flop despite being the highest grossing film in the Riddick franchise.
There's a reason we don't talk about the Riddick franchise, I think.
Hey, Aaron. What dame is in this film?
Dame. I only know, like, two. Is it Judi Dench?
Judi Dench is in this film.
Interesting.
I want to have a conversation with Judi Dench's agent.
Judi Dench's agent is off his fucking rocker.
Put her in Cats!
Hey, is this movie gonna have a bunch of really shitty CGI and shit writing? Yeah, Judy would love to. I'm taking 20% either way. Bye.
Oh
Holy
my god.
shit.
I just, I am beside myself at the fact that, oh my god, I forgot she was in Artemis Fowl.
Yeah. That's what I meant when I said shitty CGI and shitty writing. If it's got those two elements, there's a good chance Judy was in on it.
Judy, I hope you're making fucking billions and billions of dollars from the work these people are putting you through. The fucking disrespect. Wow. Okay, well, thank you for joining me on that detour. I do think we should watch The Chronicles of Riddick is the thing.
You think so?
I do. I really think we should maybe do Pitch Black and Chronicles in one episode. Just to save us.
Just to see if they're both not extremely terrible.
I mean, they are.
Yeah, it seems like they might suck is the problem.
But do they suck in a fun way?
There's only one way to find out, I suppose.
Hey, Aaron, why don't you think we should have started in 7?
I feel like this one was just, so underwhelming in a way that, it contains a lot of the ingredients for where the franchise is going to go, right? There's a couple interesting stunts, I really liked there's, a bit where there's just, car wrestling. The actual term for it is, demolition derby, right? But it's basically just car wrestling. There's driving cars at each other. And that's fun. Like I said, there's a part where Paul Walker drives a car onto and into a boat, which I liked quite a lot. But it's not getting to the wild, bonkers, completely unbelievable bullshit that I was just adored in 7. The Rock is not driving an ambulance into a Predator drone. I want it to be a little bit more absurd and in this era, right? I don't know, we're not really in the grit era. 2003 is a little bit I want to say it's too close to the 90s to be grit, but they are trying to tap into the quote unquote underground street racing culture. I read a lot of the reviews in Wikipedia. It basically seemed like they were trying to appeal to Black Americans and also white Americans in a way that they had no idea how to. They just put rappers in the show and were like, hey, you all like this, right? Which maybe not the best way to appeal to a broader audience, but like I really think they should have leaned into like more of the goofiness that, like, you know, Ludacris Goes to Space is an incredible pitch, right? But like this one, which is like Tyrese watches as a man drives a car into a boat, is a slightly less effective pitch. And like, you know, starting at 7, which is such a high bar for the franchise, you know, I was very disappointed by this one.
Yeah, I can't remember the like scale of escalation for 3, but it does start getting quite insane. Basically there's like a flat line and then a completely wild ramp up to what we see in 7, and then I love to tell you this, it keeps going. 7 is not like peak insanity. 7 is honestly pretty tame compared to 9, and I haven't seen 8, so I'm very excited to find out what that's like. Or for that matter, the Rock and Jason Statham spinoff.
Oh yeah, we gotta cover Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, no. But like that's what I'm saying. Like this film, you know, one thing that surprised me about this film, this is going to get into some weird shit, is that there was like a weird amount of anti-cop ideology, which I think is fine. But considering this came out in 2003, which is to say post 9/11, I thought it was very strange. And I'm wondering like how much of this series, like quote unquote restrainedness is coming from the influence of 9/11 on media. Like, you can't, you know, you probably couldn't do the driving a car into a building thing, you know, in 2003.
It does always go back to 9/11 is the thing. There's like several studies on how our media has changed after 9/11, but honestly, I don't remember cops being heralded as heroes after 9/11. Firefighters, I remember kind of being the big ones.
That's right. No, I felt like, I feel like there was, you know, more respect the troops, respect our boys in blue shit. Actually, that's probably going to be more now in our current era, but we won't talk about that.
Not until we get to the new movies, which I feel like the new movies have to get really absurd because you can no longer involve local police in the shit these people do. So, you know, you're talking about like 3-letter organizations that don't even exist anymore. You know, you got people like Mr. Nobody. Like, who the fuck are you? You know what I mean?
Our favorite Kingdom Hearts character.
That's Xemnas' day job name. Mr. Nobody. That's what Sora calls him when he forgets who he is, when he loses his final brain cell.
Exactly.
Excuse me, Mr. Nobody.
But yeah, no, I just, you know, this one was disappointing. I wanted to see more wild, bonkers stuff, and you know, I just hope that we're gonna see more of that.
We do go to Japan on the next one.
Yes, I'm excited to see a lot of drifting.
There is, not gonna lie to you, drifting central plot point.
It seems like it, but my understanding is Paul Walker's not the central dude, is he?
I cannot remember.
Because I saw the first like 25% of it, and I don't remember seeing Paul Walker. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I have like vague recollections of all of these movies at this point in my life, and all I remember is that 3 and 9 are my favorites. So we're gonna find out if that holds up.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited. Cannot wait for that to be a thing.
So I do want to maintain our tradition of ranking things. I think this one's quite easy, right? So we've seen 1, 2, and 7. I feel like our ranking right now is 7, 1, 2.
Yes, I think that's pretty clear. I didn't think 1 was incredible, but like it had Vin Diesel, it had Michelle Rodriguez. That alone puts it above 2.
Michelle Rodriguez truly carrying this franchise on her beautiful, beautiful back.
Mm-hmm. Can't wait to see her again. I miss Letty so much.
I miss Letty also very, very. Well, we're gonna see Michelle Rodriguez again this year, also in Avatar 2.
Oh my god! Yeah, is she back? Did they resurrect her?
I'm sure there's gonna be at least a flashback.
Yeah, I hope so.
To catch audiences up on what happened in the last, 11 years between movies.
It hasn't even been 11 years. It's been 13.
Was it 09?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, all right, audience, in this already loose episode, time for a segment we should have probably put up top. We're gonna do it now. Time for Avatar Watch.
I wish there's not an Avatar theme song. There?
I'm sure there is. I think they got one of the big composers to do the score, but I don't remember which composer, and I don't know what it sounds like.
Just imagine across the news screen of your podcast is just a little chyron in papyrus font that says Avatar Watch 2022.
All right, I'm gonna bet that the composer was Hans Zimmer. Let's see, Avatar.
You don't think they got J. Will on there?
It's James Horner.
Oh,
But James Horner, composer for Titanic, also. So.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, James Cameron. There we go. Makes sense.
Yes. Time for Avatar Watch. So we did get an Avatar update recently. Avatar 2's title is The Way of the Water. And I do remember seeing something a long time ago about... Hold on. I do remember seeing something about the actors being trained to hold their water for 6 minutes. Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
Who do you think is in this film?
So Jake Sully, the guy who played Jake Sully, he's in this film.
Sam Worthington is here. Yes, correct.
Mr. Worthington. Apologies. Who played Neytiri?
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. Yes, thank you.
Correct.
Who played the red-headed scientist?
Sigourney Weaver also back. She's also back.
I think most of the other Na'vi were killed.
What other... There's two names here that I'm fishing for. One was in a different movie that James Cameron directed, and we just found out that James Horner composed for.
Is it Leo DiCaprio?
Actress.
Is it Kate Blanchett?
Kate Winslet is in this fucking movie.
Kate Winslet, yes. Holy shit, why?
And one other extremely relevant family man.
Is Vin Diesel in The Way of Water?
And Google sure says he is!
What? See, listeners, I knew we would bring it up all the way back around to the family. Holy shit! This movie's gonna own!
Yeah, okay, Wikipedia says new cast members include Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis, Edie Falco, Brendan Cowell, Michelle Yeoh, Jermaine Clement, Una Chaplin, Vin Diesel, and C.J. Jones.
Okay, I guess. What? I want to see Vin Diesel's character.
I am...
Michelle Yeoh?
Michelle Yeoh!
They're just throwing everyone at this film.
Cameron said in 2006 that he would like to make sequels to Avatar if it was successful, so that's insane. They needed to literally develop new technology to film performance capture underwater. The budget is $250 million human dollars.
That is a lot of human dollars, I fear.
And Vin Diesel and C.J. Jones have been cast in undisclosed roles.
Yeah, a little secret. Maybe they'll be. I would love Vin Diesel to be one of those fucked up Panthers, actually. Get on my back, Sam.
I mean, he's got to be a villain, right?
Here's the thing, is that if we speculate about what the plot of this movie is going to be, like, we're going to be wrong, because there's no way that we'll make it as racist as it actually is going to be.
Well, Mr. Cameron stated that it will be a natural extension of all the themes and the characters and the spiritual undercurrents. Basically,
that's a threat.
If you loved the first movie, you're going to love these movies. And if you hated it, you're probably going to hate these. Which, you know what? I gave James Cameron a lot of shit for Avatar. That's incredibly self-aware.
He knows what he's doing. The man, you don't make several billion-dollar movies without knowing exactly what the fuck you're doing, I guess. The good news is, they've got the name, they've announced big lists of the casts, and most importantly, in about 2 weeks, we're gonna get a trailer, folks. We're gonna see footage of Way of Water, so just keep your fucking eyes peeled, because eventually me and Leyla are gonna meet in person and watch this fucking film sometime in 2022, and then record the most unhinged live episode of Mortified ever.
Yeah, we might record in the same room, and I won't be sober, so...
No, we'll figure it out. We're gonna get tattoos, and we're gonna get drunk, and then we're gonna watch Avatar.
That sounds like the perfect day, and I'm sure your wife will be thrilled to hear that.
Yeah, no, she's excited.
All right, well, Aaron, I think we've gone thoroughly off course.
Listen, if you can't keep up, you're just not fast or furious enough for Mortified. I don't know what to tell you.
That's fucking true.
Leyla, when we are not both dunking on / praising James Cameron and fighting your cat, where can we be found on the internet?
You can find me at LEYLSCS on Tumblr, Twitter, and Instagram. And I don't know, man. I'm just vibes. What about you?
Find me on Twitter at AaronSXL, where I tweet about tabletop RPGs, health policy, and writing. You can find my website at aavoigt.com. I just put up an essay about why Elden Ring works for me, and why I still think that I don't know that I can continue to play FromSoft games, because Elden Ring is special. If you're interested in reading about that, you can go to aavoigt.com. I do another podcast with my friends Michael and Josh. That's at The Bible Boys on Twitter. We are eventually going to record this episode about Constantine. Hopefully that will happen tomorrow. But it is finals week. We are all going through it, so hopefully things will get back to normal over on the Bible Boys cast. Our theme song is Obsolete by Keshko from the album Filmmakers Reference Kit Volume 2. You can find more of their music at keshko.bandcamp.com. Leyla, when we are getting in the driver's seat, about to speed away from another episode of Mortified, what do we tell our audience?
Ejectocito, man! It works! I love this button.
Great, good. We'll see you all next week. Ejectocito. Fuck, I forgot about the ejector seat.